This is Good Morning Charleston.
And we're starting off with breaking news out on the roadways. All lanes of I-26 westbound still shut down. That's because of a deadly crash. It happened overnight. South Carolina's Highway Patrol says at least one person was killed in that crash. It happened in the westbound lanes right near Ashley Phosphate Road before 2 o'clock this morning. No word yet on what caused that crash or if anyone else was hurt.
And we've been following this developing story all morning, and our whole team working for you, our traffic trackers Megan Rivers and Trooper Bob, keeping their eyes on the road this morning on how this accident is impacting your commute. Let's start with Trooper Bob. Bob, what's the latest?
Hey, good morning, Tessa. Yeah, good morning, everyone. This is still an active scene westbound on I-26. This is just past Ashley Phosphate Roadway between Ashley Phosphate Road and Interstate US 78. You can see right through the camera right now is this still active scene. Investigators are still out there working this collision. It's a fatal collision that occurred earlier this morning. Now, I do see some orange lights, so that's telling me a tow truck is on scene. So hopefully this will be cleared up here very soon. Megan, how things are looking on your end?
Well, Bob, that continues to be the big main talker that we have this morning. We're going to take a look now at drive times for folks traveling in those westbound lanes. If you're coming from downtown Charleston going towards Summerville, the drive time right now is still at 22 minutes. You will have to take that detour, so it's not a big delay, but it causes about maybe a 5 to 6 minute backup in your drive time right now. From downtown Charleston to Ashley Phosphate Road, though, that drive time right now is at 12 minutes. From Summerville to downtown Charleston in those eastbound lanes along I-26, still just a 21-minute drive. Now, coming up next, we're going to take a look at those drive times for folks traveling from West Ashley to Mount Pleasant via 526. Emily?
All right, thanks, Megan. We are in for a cool morning out there, about the chilliest part of the day right now. In some spots, we're in the 40s. You're going to need a coat if you're in Somerville this morning. As you're headed out the door, it is 46 degrees right now. It's only 48 in Monk's Corner. A chilly start there as well. Cool in Charleston at 51. Cooler than we were yesterday, but not quite as chilly as we have been here over the past few weeks. So we are seeing those temperatures coming up over the next few days, but right now anywhere from 10 to 15 degrees cooler than yesterday at this time. So we're getting a cooler start, but we're going to have a slightly warmer afternoon. High pressure and control right now, and the sun coming up here shortly at 6:21 this morning. As that sun is coming up, we're going to see clear skies, lots of sunshine in the forecast today, and while we're in the 50s in many locations right now, we're headed for a warm afternoon. I'll let you know how warm it gets today. What day this week we could top out near 90 degrees. That's coming up.
We're getting new details this morning on a shooting at a North Charleston apartment complex. Police say it happened Tuesday afternoon at Atlantic Palms Apartments just off Highway 78. Officers say they found a man with his hands up, and according to a report, he told police a group of men tried to rob him. That's when he said he fired his weapon. Police say a gunshot victim was dropped off at Trident Hospital. No word on arrests.
What started as a debate over $10 has now turned into a full-fledged audit of Charleston Mayor John Tecklenburg's spending. Councilman Harry Griffin accused the mayor of spending about $10 extra on city funding to print his wife's contact information on the back of his business card. Griffin calling that a violation, and that issue led to a pretty tense discussion at last night's city council meeting.
And I was told that the first batch of cards had her name only, but that the mayor's name was subsequently added to the other side to make this a mayor's office expense. And so I ask again, who authorized this?
She is the First Lady of Charleston. It's an honorary position, admittedly. I want to tell y'all a little bit about my wife, Sandy. She's a woman of faith. Her heart is to serve our city and our community.
It was also revealed last night that Mayor Tecklenburg's wife drives his city-funded vehicle. The mayor then agreed to that full financial audit. Now there are several mayoral candidates involved in this debate. Harry Griffin, of course, Mayor Tecklenburg are running. The same goes for council members Gary White and Mike Seekings. The two outsiders in the race, that's Will Freeman and Cherry Irwin. That race will be decided on November 5th.
A live look at Washington right now. South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham is expected to hold a press conference this morning. He'll address legislation regarding the crisis at the southern border. Meanwhile, the senator is facing some backlash after a recent comment. According to reports from the Washington Post and the New York Times, Graham said Donald Trump Jr. should plead the Fifth to keep from answering questions from the Senate Intelligence Committee. The committee subpoenaed Trump Jr. after he backed out of two scheduled interviews regarding the Russia investigation.
President Donald Trump has ordered all flags be floated half-staff today. It's in honor of Peace Officers Memorial Day. There will be a service held in D.C. later this morning as all part of National Police Week.
Now to today's number of the day. It looks a potential change to the way we elect the president. 14 states plus Washington, D.C. have joined the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact. The goal is to have the president decided not by the electoral vote, but instead by the popular vote. All of the states that joined cast their votes for Democratic candidates in the past 3 presidential elections.
Covering the state now, testimony set to resume at 9:15 this morning in a high-profile Horry County case. Jerome Jenkins already been found guilty of murder, attempted murder, and armed robbery. Today marks day 3 of that sentencing phase. It's the first death penalty case in Horry County in nearly a decade. Jenkins' mother took the stand Tuesday in hopes of sparing her son's life.
I said, Jay, I want you to follow in your daddy's footsteps. And I preached to him every day. I preached to all of them. I don't want none of them to go to jail.
The defense now pushing for a sentence of life without the possibility of parole. Officials say that Jenkins killed a woman in January 2015 and then was involved in another woman's death that very same month. Now to a tragedy unfolding in Lexington County. The county coroner there says 8-year-old Mason Hanahan died Tuesday. He was shot in what deputies are calling a home invasion. They're now looking for the man involved. According to those investigators, the suspect might have been shot by a man who lives inside that home.
6:06 now, and new overnight, the Alabama State Senate passed what's considered to be the toughest abortion law in the country. It would ban nearly most abortions in the state. Supporters say their ultimate goal is to overturn Roe v. Wade, the landmark decision legalizing abortion. Lauren Walsh was in the room as lawmakers participated in a heated debate.
25 ayes, 6 nays, 1 abstention. House Bill 314 passes.
A bill to ban nearly all abortions in Alabama is certain to face a challenge in court if signed into law by Governor Kay Ivey. But supporters say that's their goal.
Life is precious. Life is a gift of our Creator, and we must do everything that we can to protect life. And if it is a couple of $1 million, that is a small, small price.
Opponents expected the bill to pass, but did all they could on the Senate floor to try to add an exception for victims of rape and incest.
You couldn't have thought it all the way through. Because if you're going to allow a baby to be raped, or an uncle, or a father or a cousin to be able to have babies by their own family, you couldn't have been thinking this all the way through.
That amendment rejected with a vote of 21-11.
You just raped Alabama with this bill that you're about to send out here, and the governor, when you sign it, you just raped the state of Alabama yourself.
The bill would make it a Class A felony to perform an abortion in Alabama and a Class C felony for attempting an abortion. The only exception is if a mother's life is in jeopardy. The bill's sponsor, Republican Representative Terry Collins of Decatur, says she expects the governor to sign it.
My goal with this bill is not to hurt them in any way. My goal with this bill, and I think all of our goal, is to have Roe versus Wade turned over, and that decision ability be able to be sent back to the states so that we can come up with our laws that address and include amendments and things that address those issues.
That was Lauren Walsh reporting. Governor Kay Ivey's office will receive that bill today. She says she'll give it careful consideration. She has 6 days to make a decision.
And we want to know what you think. Do you agree with Alabama's bill that essentially outlaws most abortions? You can go to abcnews4.com/poll right now to vote. You can see those results on your screen. 75% saying no, 25% saying yes. We'll bring you those up-to-date results a bit later on in our newscast. On overnight, there's word that pilots tried to get answers about a possible problem from Boeing before that second 737 MAX 8 jet crashed. ABC News now citing the New York Times this morning and outlines transcripts of a tense meeting between the American Airlines Pilots Union and Boeing officials.
The meeting was just weeks after that first jet crashed in Indonesia. Transcripts indicate Boeing pushed back about a possible problem with an anti-stall safety system. Frustrated pilots insisted they weren't told about that system to begin with. Boeing later said it was working on a fix. Months later, a second jet crashed in Africa. Officials say both crashes were caused by faulty sensors that incorrectly triggered that safety system. The plans remain grounded. The software fix has not been approved. Boeing says it continues to work with regulators to return the jet to service. An update out of Alaska this morning. The Coast Guard says 6 people are dead after those 2 sightseeing planes collided in midair. It happened Monday night.
The NTSB now on scene there. Taquan Air operated the larger of the planes. Neither one of those aircraft crash landed into a mountainside last year. The company, though, did have a plane that did. Taquan Air says it suspended operations now and is cooperating with investigators. And some big news out of North Carolina this morning. Dan Bishop won Tuesday's Republican primary. That's according to our ABC affiliate out of Charlotte. The special election was for a congressional seat there. It's been vacant since last year's election was called into question over alleged fraud.
Bishop is the state senator who sponsored that controversial bathroom bill in the Tar Heel state. The general election will be held September 10th. Dan McCready is the Democratic nominee.
It is 6:10 and still to come on this Wednesday morning, empowering students and staff to take their school safety into their own hands. How a new app could be the key to saving lives.
A little bit cool out there this morning with temperatures in the low 50s and in some spots the mid to upper 40s. You'll need a light jacket, but you also need those sunglasses. I'll let you know how warm it gets this afternoon and which day this week we have summer-like humidity returning.
Coming up next, I'll show you how to get around this fatal collision on 26 westbound. And I just heard back from Highway Patrol. I'll let you know what they said.
This ABC News 4 Traffic Tracker Report is sponsored by Fred Anderson Toyota of Charleston.
All right, so if you're traveling 26 westbound, you're going to pass the Ashley Phosphate exit. Let me take you to the roadway right now. Investigators are still working the collision scene here. North Charleston Police do have the interstate blocked off, so you're going to have to get off at 209A. This is over there by Northwoods Mall. This will put you on this, the 52 connector. It'll put you on Rivers Avenue. Then you'll have to take University Boulevard up by Charleston Southern University and get back on the interstate there. I can just see there's another, just happened, 2-car collision just happened right here next to me, right before the exit here. Investigators also did get back with me, and they told me that this collision scene could be still here for about another hour. So they're trying to open it up as quick as they can, but they're looking about another hour as far as it's going to be closed. Megan, how things looking on your end as far as the big picture?
Well, Bob, that continues to be the main talker that we have this morning. We don't have a whole lot of traffic jams or other backups to let folks know about right now, so we're going to take a look at those drive times for folks traveling along 526. From West Ashley to Mount Pleasant, that drive time right now is at 19 minutes. From Mount Pleasant over to West Ashley, that drive time also at 19 minutes. So no major delays or slowdowns in this area. This is a live look at I-526 east and west near Long Point Road. More cars in those eastbound lanes as folks are coming into Mount Pleasant, but again, no traffic jams to let you know about. Now, coming up next, we'll take a look at those drive times for folks traveling along US 17 north and south.
Help could be on the way more quickly for an active shooter situation. It's all thanks to a new app which would speed up emergency service response times. That app being launched in a Florida school district already. It's called Crisis Go. And during an emergency, faculty can hold down a button notifying the rest of the school, as well as law enforcement personnel will also set off a loud alarm.
We track storms with Storm Tracker meteorologist Emily Crazy.
Take a look at that sunrise out there this morning. What a gorgeous view. That sun coming up earlier and earlier and just a few minutes away from that official sunrise time at 6:21. And a lot of blue sky in the forecast for today. It is chilly, though. In fact, take a look. Temperatures right now are only in the low 50s. And that's in Charleston. We have plenty of mid to upper 40s on the map as well. Also clear skies out there, so we may drop another degree or two here in the next hour. Grab the jacket as you're headed out the door. Some widespread 40s on the map this morning, but we're headed for a really nice afternoon. If you liked yesterday, we are in for more of the same today. So the next few hours, we are going to warm up nicely. Headed for mid to upper 70s by about early afternoon. Lunchtime, going to be in those mid 70s. So really comfortable out there later this afternoon and this evening. A gorgeous day. So I have nothing else to say about today other than just picture perfect. In fact, we have been below average here for the first time in a while. Last time we were this cool was back in mid-April when we had 70 as our afternoon high. And yesterday, our high temperature was 77. I think we're going to be just a touch warmer than that today. And if you like that weather, enjoy it because that summer-like heat is returning later this week. So high pressure and control for today. No rain in sight. In fact, no rain in sight for the next several days. We do need that rain. We are well below average, but we're not going to get it. That 7-day forecast looking pretty dry. Today, still comfortable. That northeast wind keeping us nice and comfortable and dry today as high pressure settles into our north. But as that high starts to move off the coast a little bit over the next couple of days, we're going to experience some changes changes in those temperatures. Watch this. This is going into tonight and tomorrow. The high is going to shift off the coast, and by tomorrow we're returning to near normal temperatures, so right around those mid-80s. Now by Friday that starts to change as the high shifts off the coast and sinks south a little bit. That's going to shift our winds from the south, so the humidity is coming up, the temperatures are coming up, and by the weekend we could be topping out right around 90 degrees for those afternoon highs. So climbing temperatures today, still comfortable though at 79. Lots of sunshine out there, light winds, low humidity. If you're headed out to the River Dogs game tonight, picture perfect out there. Great weather to experience the game. Not too cool either. You shouldn't need a jacket, maybe a light sweater as those temperatures fall into the 60s through the evening, but more comfortable in those coastal areas like where the Joe is. Now overnight tonight we are going to drop back into the 50s by early tomorrow morning, especially in those inland areas, but 60s as you're waking up in some of those coastal areas. So not quite as cool, and we're headed for a warmer afternoon. I'm going to be tracking that trend in temperatures for the weekend. I'll let you know which day will be the most humid. That's coming up in the 7-day forecast.
All right, and thanks. The U.S. News and World Report just releasing some new rankings of the best states. We're going to tell you who came in number 1 and where South Carolina fell in that list.
Maybe not number 1. Okay, let's move on. And remember, we want to know what you think about Alabama's abortion bill. Do you agree with the bill that essentially outlaws most abortions? Go to abcnews4.com/poll to vote. We'll bring you the results later in our newscast.
Local news in a flash. ABC News 4, now on Alexa.
I'm Attorney Bill Green. One call, that's all. Call 747-BILL.
This morning, one of the biggest bands in the world kicks off GMA's summer concert series. It's BTS, only on GMA. The epic party is on GMA this morning. Presented by Kings Hawaiian.
Toyota's Summer Starts Here event at Fred Anderson Toyota of Charleston. New RAV4s, $214 a month. New Tacoma double cabs, $184 a month. Save $8,000 off new Toyotas.
Get the family plan and more on Savannah Highway.
Mary was T-boned by a drunk driver, leaving her with critical injuries and unable to work. Bills were piling up. The drunk driver's insurance company offered a quick settlement. Bad idea. She called attorney Bill Green and the Green Team.
You don't need a superhero. We fight for victims like Mary. We've won millions of dollars for injured clients, and we'll work to get you every dollar you deserve. One call, that's all. Call me, 747-BILL.
With CPI Security's InTouch system, you get complete protection, control, and convenience right at your fingertips. Arm your system, lock your doors, and even talk to someone at your door from anywhere. During an emergency, CPI quickly connects you to our award-winning monitoring center.
CPI Security. Identify yourself.
Giving you the fastest response possible. For a limited time, get a free InTouch doorbell camera and outdoor HD camera with your smart home security package. Call CPI today.
I'm the kind of person who actually enjoys planning a vacation. I love picking out where we'll go, what we'll see, maybe even ordering a few new outfits to wear. For me, a big part of it is learning about our destination and making sure we have everything we need for everything on our agenda. And sometimes it means spending a little extra to make our experience that much better. Plan your next adventure. Americash Loans. Your money, your choice.
Imagine your home totally organized by Closets by Design. Custom closets, garages, home offices, pantries, laundries, and more. We do it all. Take 40% off plus free installation. Visit closetsbydesign.com.
Today, we have something really special for you. It'll revolutionize the way you use your phone. You'll use it when you've been hurt, after an accident, when you don't know where to find help. It is my pleasure to introduce to you All Nines.
It's not just a number, it's the last number on the keypad, and it's a number that you'll remember forever.
When you're hurt, the answer's right in your pocket. Hurt on the highway? Call George Think Injury Lawyers at All Nines.
The Fred Anderson Family Plan is more than just lifetime oil changes, a lifetime powertrain warranty, and car washes.
It's our commitment to you and your vehicle before, during, and after every sale.
Get the family plan and more
on Savannah Highway.
We are in for another nice day today. Temperatures are going to be in the upper 70s, but Those temperatures are going to rise over the next few days. Take a look at this trend. 84 by tomorrow, 88 with sunshine on Friday. Humidity returns later this week and into the weekend with temperatures around 90 degrees all the way through early next week. And our rain chances staying really low until at least Tuesday.
All right, breaking news, an update from the South Carolina Highway Patrol. As of 6:15 a.m., we know that this is a two-vehicle collision. 2 people have died from this scene. And this is at I-26 near mile marker 207 westbound. We know that a Dodge Charger and a Jeep Grand Cherokee were both traveling in the westbound lanes. The Dodge rear-ended the Jeep, and the Charger went off the road into the woods. 2 passengers in that Charger have since died. The driver of the Charger and the driver of the Cherokee were taken to the hospital, and the crash remains under investigation by the South Carolina Highway Patrol. We're told that the lanes could be closed until at least 7 a.m. this morning. We will continue to update you on air and online and on Twitter as well.
I'm Alex Perez with ABC News in Delphi, Indiana. It's been more than 2 years since friends 13 and 14-year-old Abby Williams and Libby German disappeared from this trail and were murdered. This morning, I'm going one-on-one with the Indiana State Police Superintendent, Doug Carter, who's been working around the clock to crack this case. Here's your GMA First Look.
I think of Abby and Libby all the time. I have their names etched in my desk.
New details from Indiana's top cop on the hunt for whoever brutally murdered 13-year-old Abby Williams and 14-year-old Libby German.
We are one tip away from success. We are one tip away, one bit of information away from finding out who this individual is.
And coming up at 7 a.m., we'll tell you why the state police superintendent believes that someone here in Delphi knows who the killer is, but is afraid to come forward. With your GMA First Look, I'm Alex Perez, ABC News.
New information about that deadly wreck on I-26 and westbound lanes shut down. In fact, they are still closed. Highway Patrol tells us that 2 people were killed in a car when it was rear-ended and went off the road into the woods. It was the passengers of that vehicle that went off the road that were killed.
The driver of that car and of the other were taken to the hospital. Right now, westbound lanes are still blocked, but Highway Patrol tells us they're working on getting them back open by 7. There's currently a detour in place. Traffic tracker Trooper Bob is in that area. Bob.
Yeah, good morning, Tessa. Good morning, everyone. We're approaching the wreck scene here on the eastbound side. We're going to flip the cameras over once we get to it, if we can get to it in time. As you can imagine, there's a lot going into this because 2 people have lost their lives at this fatality. Investigators are documenting the scene, not just the damage to the vehicles, but also damage to the roadway. There might be marks in the roadway they have to document. Newer vehicles have what's called almost like a black box, like an airplane would have. So they're retrieving information from that. So there's a lot that goes on to this. Any witnesses that saw this collision, they're trying to track those witnesses down and get their statements also. But I do see a tow truck at the scene, so we're looking probably about 30 minutes away from getting this roadway opened up, hopefully. Megan, how things looking on your end as far as the big picture?
Well, Bob, that continues to be our talker right now. That's the big slowdown that we have along I-26. This is another look at it. Unfortunately, there was a second accident in the same area. There was a vehicle that rear-ended another vehicle. No injuries, though, from that scene, but it was also causing a bigger delay in this area. So, again, you can't go in those westbound lanes along I-26 right now. If you haven't already, download the Waze app and join our Waze Around team. You can take I-26, get off on 209A, go around to University Boulevard to get back to I-26 westbound. The drive time right now, if you're coming from 526 in that area, is at 14 minutes. All right, so if you're traveling from West Ashley to Mount Pleasant, though, along Highway 17, that drive time right now is at 19 minutes. And from Mount Pleasant over to West Ashley, that drive time is at 23 minutes. Emily?
All right, we are in for a quiet morning now here weather-wise. We are in for dry weather, but it's a bit cool right now. You do not need that umbrella today, though. You will need those sunglasses. It is going to be a bright one. Right now, 51 in Charleston, 46 in Somerville, 45 in Waldburg. Some really cool spots, especially away from the coastline. And it's dry again today. That's why I'm showing you these dew points. When they're in the 40s, that's some dry air out there. So we are in for a dry day today with low humidity. That is going to change, though, later this week. At the bus stop this morning, you'll need that light jacket and, like I said, some sunglasses because it is going to be bright and sunny here through much of the day. Temperature starting off cool, but headed for a nice afternoon, upper 70s as we go through the later part of the afternoon. We are in for a warm-up. I'm going to let you know what those temperatures will peak at and which day will be the warmest. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, it's a difficult conversation, but one organizers of the 3rd Annual Charleston Forum says need to happen.
And our Megan Rivers joining us now. And Megan, they have a specific list of things that they say need to get done now.
That's right. That conversation is going to begin on Father's Day. The Charleston Forum was created after the tragic shooting at Mother Emanuel AME in 2015. Organizers say people should be able to leave with action items on how to change what they consider to be racial disparities in their communities. On Father's Day weekend, hundreds will gather to continue a difficult Low-Country conversation, racial disparities.
If your voice isn't being heard, don't just stay away from the conversation. Come let it be heard.
Brian Duffy is the chairman and CEO of the Charleston Forum. He says this year's expo will move the conversation forward.
We're going to have local public officials who are already working on issues in the areas we focus on: criminal justice, policing, education, economics, what we call the future of the past, symbols and statues and that sort of thing.
Duffy believes inequities center around education.
These big companies coming here need a good workforce. They want to see a united community as much as possible. So I think everybody can realize nowadays that it's in everyone's interest to spend the time, effort, and resources to correct these disparities.
He's hoping a big crowd comes with an open mind.
Everyone comes to any emotional issue or public issue from their own experience and their own perspective. And people need to hear other people's perspectives shared in a respectful but direct and candid way.
Well, the 3rd Annual Forum will be held on Sunday, June 16th. That's Father's Day, so it's a family-friendly event. So if you guys don't have plans yet, this is something that you could do together. That's the day before the 4th anniversary of the Emanuel AME shooting. So if you're interested in your voice being heard and you can't make it, or even if you can make it, you can submit a video online. You can go to our website right now, abcnews4.com, click on this story, and that'll take you to the link where you can upload that video and make sure that your voice is heard.
Yeah, and change begins with a conversation.
Right.
So
Got to identify the problem before you tackle it.
There you go. Thanks, Megan.
2 teenagers arrested in that deadly Colorado school shooting will appear in court today. 18-year-old Devon Erickson and 16-year-old Alec McKinney will hear their charges. The district attorney says that murder and attempted murder are possibilities. There's also a celebration of life today for Kendrick Castillo. He was killed at STEM School Highlands Ranch last week. Officials say that he had lunged at one of the suspects and likely saved many others in the room.
A heads up for people who live in the McCune subdivision in North Charleston. System upgrades by the Water and Sewer Department have been postponed. Water was supposed to be turned off this morning, but leaders say that's no longer the case. Dorchester County Water and Sewer says it plans to issue a new notice at a later date. New overnight, the Charleston County Sheriff's Office is asking for your help. They're trying to locate this black trailer. Deputies say it's a dual-axle trailer with a Maryland license plate. They say it was stolen from Ravenel. Deputies are also warning anyone who sees this trailer to notify law enforcement immediately and not open it, because they say it's filled with these cylinders filled with methyl bromide, a highly regulated and extremely flammable pesticide.
6:35 now. U.S. News and World Report just came out with a brand new ranking of the best states. Unfortunately, not such great news for South Carolina. All right, we'll take a look right here. Washington, believe it or not, taking the first spot right there, followed by New Hampshire and Minnesota. And if you scroll all the way down here, keep going all the way down past the 30s, right there, number 42, you'll find South Carolina. We'll click on that right there. And if you give you the individual rankings of the state and things like healthcare and education, and those together determine the overall ranking. The Palmetto State ranking decently in economy, coming in at 16th, it says right there, and fiscal stability at number 20, but the big marker, everything else well into the 30s and 40s. And our worst ranking, that comes in crime and corrections, where South Carolina comes in 46th out of 50.
Happening today for one night only, you can bike over the North Bridge between West Ashley and North Charleston. It's called the Ride of Silence, hosted by Charleston Moves, a bicycle advocacy group. The event is in memory of loved ones lost to bike-related fatalities. Riders are encouraged to meet up at the Low Country Food Bank. You'll sign a waiver there, then get on your bike and receive a police escort over the bridge. Food and drinks will be provided for you before and after that ride, and tickets are on sale now. Also happening today, funding, flooding, and our future. That's the topic of today's panel and conversation, hosted by the Historic Charleston Foundation. Charleston Mayor John Tecklenburg and other local leaders will be there. They'll discuss strategies to finance critical infrastructure needs. That's happening tonight at 6 at Charleston Museum Auditorium on Meeting Street.
Coming up this morning, a quieter ride, the one thing that you can do right now if you don't want to have that conversation with your Uber driver.
Another perfect day in the forecast today. We are looking at sunshine. May need to put a little sweater or fleece on the kids this morning, though. That bus stop's going to be chilly out there. We are headed for a nice afternoon, though. Here's a look at our Cool Ray school day forecast of the day. Thanks to Charlie for this very colorful Cool Ray. 4 years old, did an awesome job staying in the line. So we want to see your child's artwork, too. We're in a limited time period here where we want to see it. So go right now to abcnews4.com/coolray. Send them in.
All right, and this is a live look still at that wreck scene along I-26 westbound. Coming up next, we'll have an update on exactly what transpired here at this wreck scene, how long we think it'll be here, and the drive times along I-26.
It's 6:42. Good morning. Lawmakers in Washington are hoping to vote on a disaster relief package before a week-long Memorial Day recess at the end of the month. National correspondent Christine Frizzell tells us why there are major questions about whether the bill will pass.
New signs of life for a deal on disasters. The questions of where and how much to give close to being answered after months of negotiating over aid for wildfires, hurricanes, tornadoes, and extreme flooding. So, what's the holdup?
My understanding is that Puerto Rico has been the main obstacle to disaster relief.
This after President Trump has repeatedly said Puerto Rico has spent what it's already been given unwisely, even during a visit to the American territory shortly after it was hit by Hurricane Maria.
I hate to tell you, Puerto Rico, but you've thrown our budget a little out of whack, because we've spent a lot of money on Puerto Rico.
Now, even some of his strongest supporters say it's time to move on.
I'm willing to help the people in Puerto Rico in a reasonable way. Enough already.
Clearly, Republicans are going to have to give some more to Puerto Rico than they might otherwise do to get the votes that we need to get it done, and clearly we need to get it done.
Another sticking point? The White House also wants $4.5 billion in the bill for what President Trump sees as an emergency at the southern border, a request that may complicate the matter even more.
Late last week, the Democratic-led House passed a $19 billion disaster relief package with 34 Republicans signing on. The question now is what that bill will look like in the Senate, since Republican leaders say they only want to pass a bill they know the president will sign. On Capitol Hill, I'm Christine Frizzell.
We track storms with Storm Tracker meteorologist Emily Crazy.
I take a live look at Edisto Beach right now. We are in for a gorgeous morning out there. Blue sky, sun coming up. Good beach day eventually, but it's kind of chilly right now. High tide as well. Take a look at these temperatures. 55 in Mount Pleasant, 54 in Johns Island. Not bad, a little bit cool, but look at Goose Creek, 49 and only 48 in Monk's Corner. So we do have some really cool spots out there. 45 in Waldboro right now. A chilly start there. You will need that light jacket, maybe a little fleece on the kids this morning as you're sending them out the door to school. But this afternoon, we're back in the 70s, upper 70s later today. A little bit warmer than yesterday. Yesterday was below average. Today will still be below average, but back to near normal for tomorrow at 84. And then the climb begins. We're at 88 Friday, 90 on Saturday. So it's getting really warm through the weekend, and the humidity is going to sneak back into. So much more Charleston-like this weekend as we head in towards the end of May. For now, though, looking good out there this morning. Just a little bit cool, but no rain in the forecast. We need the rain. We're not going to get it today. In fact, a really dry forecast on tap here for the next several days. High pressure and control and no weather maker in sight. That high, though, it's going to start to move, and that's what's going to bring that change in temperatures and humidity for the next few days. So as that high shifts off the coast, the wind's coming from the northeast right now, bringing in that comfortable air. By tomorrow, they'll shift a little bit more easterly and southeasterly and eventually start to bring in that humidity as well. For today, though, it's still really dry and comfortable. 79 for our afternoon high. We hit 77 yesterday, so just a little bit warmer, but still really comfortable out there. 78 Monk's Corner, Somerville will stay in the mid 70s along those beaches, some upper 70s out there. Great day to head to the coastline. A look at your beach forecast for today. Our low tide will come later today at about noon, and high tide will come this evening. So we are dealing with that high tide right now. Water temperature is certainly coming up. Look at that, 77. The rip current risk is low, so you can jump in the water today, but with very little cloud cover, you will need that sunblock. UV index is at a 9. Tonight, cool again, cooler than average, but not as chilly as this morning. It will be in the upper 50s as you're waking up tomorrow morning. 60s along the coastline. That'll pave the way for a warmer afternoon as well. So let's talk about our next weather maker. There really isn't one. In fact, our next weather maker really is this high pressure system, because it's going to heat things up later this week. So as that high shifts off the coast, we'll start to see those winds shift direction coming from the south. And that'll happen really by tomorrow. So we're back in the mid 80s tomorrow, and then we'll continue to climb. Not just with those temperatures, but with that humidity later this week. So by Friday, that humidity starts to rise as well, with that high off the coast now, and those temperatures are going to be warm through the weekend. A lot going on this weekend, and one of those things, Charleston Beer Fest. So Riverfront Park on Saturday. Can be toasty out there, and temperatures could top out right around that 90-degree mark through the middle of the afternoon in North Charleston. Just a few clouds, and it is going to be a warm and humid afternoon, likely feeling higher than that. So this temperature's on the rise, and we are in for summer-like weather, but it's not going to last forever. I'll let you know when that rain chance does return to the forecast and when we may get a little bit of a cool down. That's coming up in the 7-day forecast.
This ABC News 4 Traffic Tracker Report is sponsored by Fred Anderson Toyota of Charleston.
All right, if you have it at 26 westbound just past Ashley Phosphate, this is what it looks like. Let me take you to the roadway right now. Police are still detouring traffic off on 209A. This is over there on the 52 connector by Northwoods Mall. It'll put you on Rivers Avenue. One thing I am seeing on Rivers Avenue, stay in the farthest right-hand lane if you want to get to University Boulevard, because traffic is starting to get congested there because everyone's merging from 3 lanes over to 1 lane. University Boulevard, that'll put you back on the Interstate 26 westbound at Charleston Southern University entrance. Megan, how things looking on your end?
Well, Bob, like you said, we are starting to see that backup along I-26 westbound. This is near Eagle Drive, and you can see before we came to the traffic camera, it was down to just kind of 1 lane of backed up, and all this has happened in the last 3 minutes or so. So traffic is starting to back up in that area. For folks traveling from Somerville, though, to downtown Charleston in those eastbound lanes is where we're seeing the biggest backup. That drive time right now is at 44 minutes. There's no new wrecks or accidents in that area, but that wreck scene along on the westbound lanes is slowing things down because we do have onlookers driving by. If you're traveling from Ashley Phosphate Road, though, to downtown Charleston, once you get past that crash scene, the drive time is still pretty normal at 13 minutes. Now, coming up next, we'll take a look at those drive times for folks traveling along 526 from Mount Pleasant over to West Ashley. Tessa?
Thanks, Megan. This kid in this next story could give me a run for my money. A 2nd grade student in New York already well on his way to a career in TV news.
We're here, live at Central Park.
That's Jericho Jose, caught the attention of this local news station in New York after he took on the role of a reporter for a class assignment. He's already gaining praise from his classmates and teachers. They say he's a natural, but Jericho is nothing if not humble.
It was all to my family's idea, and because of that, we were able to make something so fantastic.
Speaks so eloquently. Jericho said it took 7 days for him to record that project in Central Park. He says he's always known he's wanted to be a TV news reporter.
Isn't that great? Mm-hmm. Good for him. Start him young. Just invest in other areas.
You have a backup plan.
Yeah. Tiger Woods, he's got another major ahead of him this week, the PGA Championship. It tees up tomorrow, but the heralded golfer probably has some other things on his mind this week. He's now facing a wrongful death lawsuit. A bartender at his Florida restaurant died recently. Officials say it was an alcohol-related crash while the 24-year-old was driving home from work. His parents say that Woods and his girlfriend, the manager of that restaurant in Florida, are responsible for their son's death.
We have evidence to show that that videotape showing Nick at the bar that night after he got off at 3 p.m., drinking for 3 hours at the bar, was destroyed shortly after the crash had occurred.
Nicholas Emmesberger died in December. That wrongful death suit claims that Woods and Herman, that Woods' girlfriend, knew the bartender was an alcoholic. Woods said he feels horrible about what happened, but did not address that lawsuit directly.
Uber now offering a quiet mode. It's for people looking for a conversation-free ride. This is a new feature for premium or Uber Black riders. You can choose quiet mode as a preference. The new preferences also include a request for help loading luggage. There's no word if quiet mode will extend to Uber's standard riders.
And stick with us, everybody. We're tracking that deadly accident on I-26, causing some major traffic backups.
Yeah, the new information we're learning, plus how it could impact your drive to work. And remember, we want to know what you think about Alabama's abortion bill.
Yeah, do you agree with the bill that essentially outlaws most abortions in that state? Here are the results so far. 81% of you saying no, 19% saying yes. You can go to abcnews4.com right now /poll to cast your vote. Just waking up, want to recap our top story, learning some new information about a deadly accident on I-26 ahead. Westbound lane shut down all morning. In fact, still shut down at this hour. Highway Patrol tells us that 2 people were killed and a car was rear-ended. It went off the road into the woods. It was the passengers of that vehicle that went off the road, we're told, were killed. The driver of that car and a second vehicle were taken to the hospital.
Right now, westbound lanes are still blocked, but Highway Patrol tells us they're working on getting them back open by 7. Traffic tracker Trooper Bob has been in that area all morning. Let's check back in with him, Bob.
Yeah, I did see the Highway Patrol's accident investigation team still on scene there eastbound and westbound side. This is what 52 Rivers Avenue looks like right before University Boulevard. As you can see, a lot of congestion here. Everyone's trying to merge on the lane. And so if you are wanting the University Boulevard, get in the right-hand lane to get on I-26 westbound. Megan, how things looking as the big picture?
All right, so yeah, that wreck scene's still there. We had another fender bender at this scene as well that was slowing things down. No injuries, though. But the backup is already starting around Eagle Drive in those east and westbound lanes. There is a slowdown in the eastbound lanes, but once you get past Ashley Phosphate Road, there's no major delays happening in that area. But again, right around Eagle Drive is where things slow down in that area. So allow a little extra drive time if you do have to head from downtown Charleston or from 526 towards North Charleston in those westbound lanes. Again, University Boulevard is going to be that detour, you guys.
All right, nice day today. We are in for sunshine, a bit cool out there right now, but headed for upper 70s tomorrow, back to mid 80s, which is normal. And then we are going to be in those upper 80s to near 90 Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's when that humidity comes back in. So return to more Charleston-like late spring weather. And early next week is really our first chance of rain, but it's really low. So we're going to stay dry for a while, guys. No need for that umbrella anytime soon.
Wonderful.
Enjoy the cooler stuff while you got it. Thanks for joining us on Good Morning Charleston. We're going to honor America Now with our daily pledge brought to you by Miss Shattuck's kindergarten class at Laurel Hill Elementary.
Have a blessed one.